Democrats have more election tricks than ever. Speeches and persuasion are now outdated. Now, it's all about mobilization. The game's about physically producing ballots and then getting them filled out. That's it. It's a lot easier to do than in dense Democrat cities, and they have a head start. Election day doesn't matter anymore. In some swing states, you can start voting in September and October. A 2-month head start. And these elections are run by partisan secretaries of state. You know, the same people trying to strip Trump off the ballot. Choose who gets mailed a ballot, how early you can vote, how that ballot's verified. If Republicans don't get ahead of this, doesn't matter how many times Biden trips, takes bribes, or hides documents. It's just a numbers game. And Democrats know how to add to the equation. Laura Ingraham asked Trump about his plan for mail-ins today. Listen.
How are you going to make sure that mail-in ballots and voter fraud, which we heard from a lot of people in line, was an issue front and center? They're very concerned about mail-in voting. So forget the past. What are you going to do to make sure we don't have problems going forward?
If you have
RNC?
Mail-in voting, you automatically have fraud. If you have
okay, well, there's mail-in voting in Florida,
That's
and you
right.
won huge.
That's right. If you have it, you're going to have fraud.
But what are you going to do about it?
The way you win is by swamping them. The way you win is by swamping them.
Noem's the governor of South Dakota. All right, Governor, I like the idea of swamping. You know, you got to win in a landslide to overcome the margins of the shenanigans. But I would have liked to have heard a little more detail about the ground game. Is there a detailed ground game operation for the 2 months of early voting and mail that is needed to win?
There's not enough in some of these swing states. And so that's what Republicans have to be prepared for, is because the Democrats will try to do everything that they've done in the past in some of these states. If you think back to 2020, how governors wrote emergency declarations and had the opportunity to run their elections however they wanted to. And it's not that they did one thing, it's that they did everything, Jesse. And so that's what's in danger right now, is people trusting our election system. Our Secretary of States are our chief election officers. It matters who sits in those offices, just like it matters who sits in governor's offices. I'm so proud of South Dakota. We've got a high integrity election system. We vote on paper on and before Election Day. You have to use an ID to vote. It's one of the examples that rest of these states should follow. But Jesse, what I'm shocked by is that after 2020, that in a lot of these swing states, those liberal Democrat governors got reelected. They got reelected and they're still in charge. So they still may find a way to figure out a way to conduct elections in ways that ignore law. And we have to be prepared. Republicans follow the law. We respect our Constitution. We will do things correct. But boy, we're going to have to outwork them, and we're going to have to be smarter than them. And we will do that.
Does that mean Republicans have to hire guys like Craig? If Craig can operate within the legal system, do not hire Craig.
Do not hire Craig. Please do not hire Craig.
Okay. What about a law-abiding Craig?
Yes. Well, if he knows how. It sounds to me like Craig's not quite sure how to follow the law. So what I would say is that everything is at stake this year. You know, we literally have an invasion going on in our country. Today, I announced I was deploying National Guard down to our southern border for the 5th time. I was the first governor in the country to do so several years ago, recognizing what's happening and what Joe Biden's doing to this country. So listen, let's get real. Leadership has consequences. It matters who's in that White House. It matters who's in these governors' offices. It's all hands on deck, and we need to win this election.
All right. Doing the right thing on the border, doing the right thing on elections. Noem, thank you so much, Governor, from South Dakota.
Thanks, Jesse.
Not South Carolina, South Dakota. No. You too.